Lord, we ask you to bless us all, and that everything we do here tonight will move us to welcome us one day into your kingdom as good and faithful servants. We ask this in the name of our brother Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you and welcome. We have minutes for the public hearing from August 28th, the regular council meeting from August 28th, and the council work session from September 11th. Are there any changes? With no changes, we'll accept the minutes as submitted. Next will be administering a second oath of office for Officer Cody Ritchie. So I get to come up.
Should I take some pictures?
Some pictures.
Repeat after me. I, Cody M. Ritchie, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States, the Constitution and laws of the State of Ohio, and the Charter and ordinances of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, and I will, to the best of my ability, discharge the duties of the office of police officer to which I have been appointed. So help me God. Welcome. Thank you.
We teased you with this once before, but here's your oath of office all signed, and it's now official. I'd like to tell the people in the audience and members of council, we're pretty picky about who we hire here. Cody emerged to the top of a field of 22 applicants that were all interviewed. Cody, after we extended an offer of employment, we found even, it's kind of like, icing on the cake, we found out not only was he the class president of his class, he gave the commencement speech, and then he was the top gun. That was awarded at his graduation ceremony. So we're extremely happy to have him. We think we've got you a really good new officer, and we're sure he's going to do a really good job. Anything you want to say, Cody?
I just want to say thanks. I'm excited to start my career. During the process of reading about Greenhills and what they offer, what the police department stands for, and how they're very community-oriented, that really kind of touched my heart, because that's really what I want to be as a police officer. Mm-hmm. So when they found they're hiring and did all my research, I knew this was the place that I wanted to work, and I'm excited that I started my career here, and thankful that you guys gave me this opportunity.
Welcome.
Thank you for sharing it with us.
Oh, no, I'm making him this picture.
Selfie.
Selfie with this guy. I get pictures.
That's good. All right, if y'all just take a step towards me, and we'll get everybody kind of together. Perfect. All right, excellent.
Can you see
Enjoy
everybody?
yourselves. There we go. It's like we planned it. All right, folks, on three. You want to hold that open up? There we go. All right, excellent. All right, first job on three. 3, 2, 1.
First job.
There we go. Excellent. Thank you, folks. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
First job on 3.
I said it.
You're good, Mom.
I wasn't involved, but I said it for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're with me.
I figured they wouldn't because it doesn't exactly end in a smile, but
Well,
I said it for
I
you.
said first job on 3, and then I counted down.
oh.
So
I
it's like
didn't
Simon
catch
said,
that
you weren't
one.
listening. All right.
Okay, that was fun.
Now we have another one. We have a mayoral proclamation. And since Dave's not here, I get to read it. And thank you for that. So, the Village of Greenhills, Office of the Mayor Proclamation. Whereas Jason Grisgoric is concluding his service as the Government Access Coordinator with Waycross Community Media, and whereas Jason was born and raised in South Bend, Indiana, and discovered his interest in film in 1993 during his education at St. Joseph's College, and whereas Jason began his career at Waycross Community Media in 1997 as a volunteer coordinator production technician, and whereas in 2008, Jason was promoted to Government Access Coordinator and made it his mission to give Greenhills and every Waycross community personalized attention, an eye for detail, and elevated awareness. And whereas he has been honored by 2 members of the Congress of the United States Census Board, a number of representatives of the state of Ohio, Hamilton County Commissioners, and various regional and local video competitions. And whereas Jason and his husband Michael are relocating to Geneva, Switzerland, so Michael may pursue a career opportunity. Now, therefore, I, Melanie Hermes, Vice Mayor of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, on behalf of the citizens of Greenhills, do hereby express our deepest gratitude to Jason Grisgoric for his 21 years of dedicated and outstanding work with Waycross Community Media, most recently as the Government Access Coordinator, and the personalized attention, eye for detail, and elevated awareness he provided to every project he worked on for the Village of Greenhills, enhancing the village's communication with its residents. In witness whereof, I have hereunto subscribed my name this 25th day of September in the year of 2018. So, okay, thank you. So, thank you to Jason, and I wish him all the best of luck on his next step and his new adventure. Now is the time for the citizens to address council.
Madam Vice Mayor, I would like for humbly to allow the Representative Deaver to come forth first.
You want to do
Because he needs to be another place.
Okay.
Kind of in 2 places at once.
if you would like to step forward, we'll give you time to do a public presentation, so I won't put on the time clock.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I think you look a little bit nicer than our mayor. I was going to call you David, but it seems not.
All my closest friends do.
I will at least comply with the formalities for our clerk and law director, Jonathan Deaver, live in Madeira. I am the state representative for the 20th House District. So I just want to come by tonight and thank you all for all of your feedback and your input and the collaborative work that we've been able to have over the last 18 months to 2 years during this term, and just kind of give you quickly an update on some of the things that we've accomplished. I always like to say my last name is Deaver, but I don't like to promise things, I like to deliver them, so it's kind of I'm here to deliver some good news tonight about some of the accomplishments that we've had, some of the things that we're continuing to work on, and some of the priorities that I've got moving forward that I'm going to need your help with specifically. So this term we've had a lot of great success. We've seen bail reform work its way through the committee process. I'm relatively confident that that'll be something that'll pass in lame duck. We've had some regulatory reform on our lending institutions, which help Ohioans in our most needed areas, our rural areas, and also our urban core, have access to financial services and products that they haven't had before. If you've noticed, our unemployment rate too is at record lows, and we are actually at a point where a lot of our business owners can't find talent, which is a great place to be since the first time I came here 4 years ago, and we were trying to find a way to close that gap. So in light, what we're trying to do now is tie in our high schools with our vocational outfits across the district and across the region. One of the recent projects that we're working on, we finally have our stakeholders invested in the concept. Over at Princeton, right behind the high school, there is the local 392, which is the plumbers and pipe fitters outfit. And what they have offered is a free option for kids coming out of high school, since the high school is only a couple feet behind it, and it's something that we can tie in with Winton Woods because we're close, where we can get some high school credit for these kids to find an alternative career path. I think one of the things that we've also found is that not every kid's going to Harvard, and that's okay. And quite frankly, a lot of the kids that go through a vocational path do better than kids that went to Harvard, which is even more fun to see. But these are jobs that pay once you've got your apprenticeship, about $50,000, $100,000, $150,000, and these are real jobs that pay a real wage that allow a lot of the folks that don't think high school is a good fit to make a real wage and have a real life. I think it gives us also an opportunity to get kids back to a reality when they become young adults, so that when they have a family and they're starting up and they want to buy a house, that they can also have the opportunity to afford the drive down to Florida and have the vacation to save and invest for their retirement, those types of things. So we're seeing some movement in that direction. I think we'll be able to accomplish that in the next term, but the big piece is that we have the buy-in now from the various stakeholders, which was a challenge. As always, moving into the next term, we have a couple of big issues that we've been working on. One is unemployment insurance reform. We've made some great headway, but we've found a sweet spot with the trades, with our unions, our workers, and also our business community, the chambers, to find a path to shore up our unemployment insurance, to make it solvent in less than 18 months, and then make it profitable so that there's an opportunity for employees and employers to share in insurance processes and in those premiums. Things that everybody agrees on, things that will shore up our system and take us out of the debt that we are in. What we did do with the unemployment insurance, though, is instead of paying interest, we borrowed from our unclaimed funds stack of money, so that we're paying 0% interest. So there's always a bunch of money that sits in the unclaimed funds account, and so we borrowed against that to pay down the debt, so it erased the interest payments that taxpayers have to pay. And in the meantime, what we are doing is trying to find a long-term fix to pay that off at 0% to the taxpayer. So I think it's a win-win. So we've been able to accomplish that this cycle. Moving forward, I think we'll have another piece that will allow us to have a stable program moving forward for the next foreseeable future, but it's specifically the next General Assembly. As always, the last two pieces that I want to work on in the next term, and I think we've got the footing underway with a lot of your help here in the room, and specifically the mayor. Number one is school funding, and dovetailing with that is property tax reform. As we've all seen over the course of most of our lifetimes and throughout General Assemblies, we have these cliffs and peaks and valleys, and there's no stability on the internal or external millage and the rate of return. And so my office has been working over the last 4 years with various stakeholders across the state and across our district to find a way to get rid of those peaks and valleys, to provide stability even for you as a municipality on your local government fund, by creating a stable and predictable growth rate on the tax that you get off of property valuation. I think as we move forward, this is going to take a two-step approach. We're going to need a constitutional amendment in part, which is going to be a very, very tough thing to do to educate the voters of the state of Ohio. We're going to need administrators and members of various councils, school board members, superintendents that are willing to buy in on the concept. But the stability piece on that, I think, is the piece that we really should be focusing on. If you're a senior citizen, you can have some stability knowing that you can live and grow old and age in place in your home and not worry about getting kicked out because your taxes are going up too high. If you're a young couple, you know you can buy in and live and develop your house and raise your children there without having that fiscal cliff. If you're a school system, you know that there's going to be a steady internal and external rate of return on your millage, so you don't have to go back to the taxpayers over and over and over again, which then allows the state to create an equitable funding formula that looks at the students and the challenges of each university and school. Because a lot of these universities are partnering with our local schools to provide alternative pathways for career readiness. So with that, I will kind of yield the microphone. If there's any questions, I would be more than happy to take questions, but I just want to give you some quick highlights. For those of you that are interested in looking at the legislative work that we've accomplished, you can always go to ohiohouse.gov and you can look at the legislative tab, and that'll give you also a list of the bills that I've introduced and that have passed and the ones that are still in the committee process. So with that, I'd be more than happy to take questions.
The interesting part about the property taxes, is that a partial rollback of House Bill 920 from way back when?
It is way back when. What we're looking at is starting from scratch in a way. And so part of that is having conversations with, if we could redesign it to meet the needs of the 21st century and the next generation, what should that property tax formula look like? There are a lot of really good ideas across the country. Some come from California, some from Florida, some from Texas, some from up at New England area that deal with the various aspects of creating that stability. And that's really kind of the issue, is how do we create stability and predictability so that as you're governing here and you're trying to do your forecasts and your budgeting, how can you be in a way positive that those outliers will be minimized, right? And also to give that So that stability to you on a glide path that doesn't have peaks and valleys and not a plateau. Those are some of the bigger challenges. I mean, one of the interesting pieces, if you look at California, this is something that's part of a discussion, is if you've realized that if you buy a house back in the 1970s, your tax valuation incrementally goes up so long as you're not redeveloping your property, remodeling it substantially, or selling it, right? So it gives a nice glide path. So if you're a senior citizen, you want to age in place, you can, and you're not forced out of your home. But if you sell that property or you substantially remodel it, you pull a building permit through the city, and there's a reevaluation at that point, then there's an increase. So it gives some sort of stability for people who can least afford it, and in communities where you have lower income folks or people who are middle income. Having that stability is vital to planning for retirement, for making sure that you have the funds and the resources you need when you're older to pay for the things that are most important at that point in your life. So trying to find a nice balance there for local governments, for schools, and then also making sure that we're meeting the needs of the aging population is important. And then while we focus on vocational training and different types of employment that's coming to the state of Ohio, making sure our workforce is ready and available to meet the jobs. We've got about 500,000 jobs right now where we just don't have the talent for it right now in our state, and we've got to do a better job at predicting that and also helping people prepare for the jobs as they evolve and change. So mid-career changes, mid-career education, and all those things kind of coming together, providing that stability moving forward. I think if we can get that on the right glide path in the next 2 to 4 years, things are going to be really good in the state.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate everything you've done to represent us well, and I think you've done a good job. I always want to remind you of a couple of things.
Always.
And I'm not bashful. I'm not bashful about it, and I'm glad that you're not bashful in representing us either. And one of the challenges for us as a small community is revenue. The local government fund used to be substantially more than it is. Our revenue that will come to us this year is less than $40,000, and it used to be substantially more than that. And I'm not crying over spilt milk. Philosophically, I agree that the inheritance tax, pay taxes once on money, not after you're deceased. But we really haven't had any replacement funding for that. And what's happened in our community is we started with an income tax. We increased that income tax, and now that's the largest contributor to our general fund. And the problem is our community continues to age, and I've always said Greenhills is a great place to live in retirement because over $1 million of our general fund comes from those that are in the workforce. And if you run the numbers far enough out, everyone will be retired and there'll be no income tax. So we are looking for some kind of stability for that. And I think the other thing for communities like us, I don't think we have a lot of trust at times with Columbus in collecting the taxes and then returning them back to us.
Couldn't agree with you on any.
And I know I'm singing a song that you're well supportive of. So I didn't want to miss the opportunity to remind you of the things that are close to us.
I will be more than happy to address both because I think they're both relevant to the prior conversation. The first is local government fund. I think we need to remind folks that are either here or maybe watching that this was something that was really a 2008 issue. And so that was 10 years ago, and I've been around for 3.5, 4. So we'll start with that. But the thing at the time, though, I think people forget is that we were in dire straits as a state. Our state was borrowing $8 billion a year to make its ends. We have a responsibility by the Constitution to balance our budget. And so that's what they were facing in 2008. And most local governments saw about a 0.3, so 0.3, not 1%, but 0.3% cut was the average. Some communities like yours was a little different because it's unique. I mean, Greenhills, I think there's 3-4 communities like this, as far as I know, out there at all. So Greenhills is unique. It was something that came out of World War II, and it was designed, and the way it was designed, it has unique issues and unique characteristics, which is why a lot of people love it here and want to stay here and raise their family and retire here. And because it's an outlier and because it's unique, it needs to have a special touch and a special fix for that particular issue. So, we look at our county during that period of time. Our county went from 300 million down to 200 million in overhead. So they cut themselves by a third, intentionally and structurally and intelligently, to the point where really the services that they were offering, most folks did not realize that they had changed. And what they found was good partnerships countywide with local governments like yourself and others to find a way to provide efficiencies of services. So that was a different time. I mean, right now where we are is in a place where most local governments have grown through that, because the growth rate has been 4 or 5%, some years 2 to 3%. So all you needed was 6 months of growth to recover the cut from 2008. So most communities have found a way to get through that. Townships were shored up a little bit because they were the ones that got hit the most, because they have no ability to do income taxes, as you're aware.
Right.
So we did do some things even when I was in the General Assembly, because they hadn't caught up in those 4 years, and so we did some fixes there. There are still some conversations about what we're going to do moving forward, but again, our current governor had no interest in doing anything with the local government fund for communities such as yourself, because he looked at it as though the state had to make cuts, the counties had to make cuts, and everybody had to make cuts in 2008, and that's how he looked at it. And he's not necessarily wrong in that conversation, but what he's missing are the outliers. And I always say, the idea behind good legislation is to make sure that we're not leaving anyone out, but we're also providing enough flexibility in the statute for people to help themselves. One size does not fit all. I don't know, I've never met anybody that could fit into the same pair of pants or same pair of shoes. It just doesn't work that way. You have to have flexibility at the local level in order to achieve your goals, and where you're missing pieces, you need to have statutory flexibility to either raise revenue, or if it's not possible, you need some help from folks like myself. So again, that's why I'm here, and I'm more than willing to, if there's something that we're missing under the prior administration, I mean, regardless, come January, we're going to have a new governor. And there's going to be a new outlook on how we view some of the things that we've been trying to accomplish. School funding is a huge one that I've been fighting for, as you all know. Made some great strides. First cycle, nobody lost any dollars. I mean, we put another $900 million in public education with my amendments across the state. We made sure our local school system here in Winton Woods, I think there is several $1 million every single year additional to what they were getting before. I mean, our school system is better funded than it's ever been in the history of the district. Those are things that I was able to get done. But when it comes to the local government piece, that is a challenge, and I agree with you. And places like Greenhills have unique challenges. It's very tough this is kind of a bedroom community. Everybody leaves and goes to work, comes home. And I mean, in the last 2 years, you guys have done a yeoman's job of filling in your business district and getting businesses to invest right here. So I commend you all for that, because I know that was a challenge, and those were things you guys are working diligently to do, which helps raise that local revenue that you need. So as we move into a new General Assembly, I'm optimistic that those big pieces that we've been missing can get done. We have 2 gubernatorial candidates that have indicated their desire and willingness to solve that problem. So I'm encouraged by that. Hopefully that helps. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you.
I know you always ask me that every time I come, but it's fine. And it's a good question.
He's required to.
I understand. I understand. Jack says I'm not doing it. We'll let him do it. Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything that you guys do here. Again, if you need anything, please let me know. The district email is rep28@ohiohouse.gov, so if anybody needs anything, please let me know. Obviously, I'd be more than willing to work with the law director on language if you have any specific ideas on how we can look at budget amendments moving forward. Keep in mind the budget process theoretically starts January 1, January 2. The minute we're sworn in, that becomes the focus for the next 8 months. Depending on the cycle. So definitely that's something that we need to have conversations about as we move into the next budget process, whether it's school, local infrastructure projects, what have you. Those are the types of things that we need to have early. So please reach out early and often as we move into even the latter part of this cycle, so we can have conversations about what that language might look like. Also, I'd love to have you come up so you can educate the members of the Finance Committee, and so they can understand why Greenhills is unique and it is a great place to live, and why your challenges are different than everyone else that's around you. So thank you again. Appreciate the time to come in, and if you have any questions, feel free to send them to my office. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll have citizens to address council. This is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council. When recognized, please come forward to the lectern, give your name and address, and then state your comments or questions. This is not intended to be a dialogue with council or village staff. If you have questions, the questions will be recorded and referred to the manager's office for a response. This will allow time for thoughtful and thorough consideration to be given to each question. Council meetings are recorded for ease of transcriptions. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. If you can write your name up there, that way we can...
Yes, ma'am. Hi, my name is Christina Elam. I actually reside at 853 Cascade Road, but I am a babysitter for my boyfriend's children at 30 Chalmers Lane. We are wondering the process of just requesting a Watch for Children sign on Chalmers Lane or in that vicinity, because not only are his kids there and they are playing out and people fly through, there's also other children on the street, and in the neighborhood that I live in, we noticed a dramatic decrease in speeders and people not paying attention to the children that are out playing. So we're just, we and him both kind of agreed that it's just best if, it would be a good idea if that was thought about and considered to put up in that area.
Okay. I think that's something that I'll just say that can go to the safety committee. So that's something that my committee will discuss with the chief.
Okay, thank you. That was all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Maria Walther Willard, and I'm down here to the floor. I only get to the podium here when I want to view my opinion and personal opinion as a taxpayer and as a constituent. I would like this opportunity, which is long overdue, to thank the fire department and our police department for all the dispatch calls, 911 calls, that I made for my husband. A police cruiser was always waiting for the ambulance to assist in every possible way. I want to express the heartfelt thanks, not just for me, for my husband, but for all the citizens here in this village. They have witnessed so many calls for the same reasons as mine in the D section. They are professional, polite, and know us by name. Provide bike rodeos for the safety of our children, Citizens Academy, even a self-defense class for our women. They do house checks when we are out of town. They check and let us know if we left the garage door open. They keep us safe while we sleep, and many times they help me get fat in and out of the car and safe into the house. They leave their home saying goodbye to their loved ones, never knowing what will happen and if they will be back. In this day and age, we do not know what perils may they encounter. Some of those that we have hired had to leave due to the fact that they married or had a baby, or both, and they needed to provide for their new family. And we are at the bottom comparable salary list of the police departments in Hamilton County. I would like you to remember these points that I have made here, and when you see a member of our police force, please say thank for their service to our community. We have one of the finest police departments, CALIA certified. We train the top of the applicants, like we did today when we sworn in this one new police officer. If they accept another assignment elsewhere to provide better for their families, we have lost not only a fine officer, but also $15,000 from our coffers in trainings, uniforms, and vests. We have one of the finest chief of police. My husband met him when he was a patrolman in Hamilton, Ohio, and my husband Thad was a prosecutor for the city of Hamilton. When his name popped up for the village of Greenhills, in Thad's words, we better hire him. We could have been a gifted attorney, and yet he chose to serve the people of Hamilton and now the citizens of Greenhills. We need to show our support by voting yes for the police levy. Signing on with the sheriff's department is not a choice. We'll be paying lots more for lots less. They will be strangers who will not know our name or the ones of our children of the community. Moreover, they will be miles away during the night when we sleep and we're the most vulnerable. I wish to thank at this time the acting mayor, Madam President Pro Tem Hermes, and all the council present for allowing me to address them as a taxpayer and as a constituent. Chief, you are an officer and a gentleman, and may God protect and keep safe our firemen, our police officers, and all first responders now and always. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well said.
Would anyone else like to address council? Tough act to follow. Let's go ahead and do the reports of village officials. We'll start with municipal manager.
My apologies, I did not have time to prepare a report. So I'll pass for now unless anybody has any questions.
No.
Okay, then.
Okay, the law director.
Thank you. I submitted a written report that I see was in your packet. I can answer any questions, but I don't have anything additional.
Good.
Any questions? Okay. Acting clerk of council.
Thank you. All resolutions and ordinances passed at the last meeting on the 28th of August were posted as required.
Great.
Thank you.
Any questions? Police chief.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We were very pleased this month to secure a $6,129 grant from the state of Ohio that will unexpectedly pay for all new bulletproof vests, which typically would have been a capital item, which would have been general fund. So we're very pleased to have received that. Lieutenant Ward did an excellent job on writing that grant and securing it for us. You saw what we spent an entirely long time on was the result of it with the new officer being sworn in. We expect great things from him and sincerely hope he sticks around for a while. We had, as you may know, we had a fairly large crime spree that was thwarted by the works of one of our younger officers, Zach Clark, who just called me. I know he's still working the case. He's been on it all day. This is a crime spree that continues to grow. We've had a number of different police agencies in our offices. Norwood was here today. Westchester was here yesterday. We worked with Northern Kentucky agencies and a great deal with the Sheriff's Office and with Cincinnati PD. But these were 5 individuals who came into our village and brazenly lined up U-Haul trucks, which they fraudulently obtained, to haul off over $30,000 worth of furniture from our store, another $20,000 from another store, and the more we were digging, the more we found. There was a lot of stolen liquor involved. There were even stolen vehicles that were involved. I think there were things involved that we yet don't know. But rest assured, I've got an officer that hasn't gotten much sleep, and he's enlisted the aid of his fellow officers and officers from other jurisdictions. And we're getting search warrants on telephones, where we've had search warrants on residences throughout the greater Cincinnati area. So we at this point believe that this involves about $100,000 of stolen merchandise. We conservatively believe it'll go probably close to $250,000, if not beyond. So the investigation isn't over, and we'll continue to work on that. But you know, there's something in my line of work. Sometimes you hear police chiefs say it was just good old-fashioned police work. Well, that's exactly what it was in this case. Zach Clark got a call because of a very alert clerk at at Bargains and Buyouts who just didn't think something was right. So he went down there, and instead of just taking a report, he listened to what she had to say, came back and talked to Sergeant Lukes and says, you know, I'd like to do a little surveillance. And he's had some training and experience in that in the past year. And he got an unmarked car, which is something we didn't used to have, and we're able to utilize that resource. And he realized that as soon as 2 U-Haul trucks pulled in, he was in a little bit over his head. So he got another investigative unit involved right away, and stops were made on the Norwood Lateral and into over the Rhine at 14th and Race near downtown Cincinnati. And that was when we first unloaded 2 truckloads of merchandise, found another truck, so it just continued on. So it really all initiated because one police officer here in Greenhills had excellent investigative resources. So we're really proud of the work that he did, and I think it reflects the caliber of the officers that we have here, and I feel like it's a real privilege to be able to be a part of that organization. In terms of our statistics, during the month of August, we investigated 5 accidents. We had 6 crimes, other than the one I just told you about. 433 other incidents. We contacted residents 616 times. 298 of those were through dispatch or received by telephone here, and 318 were self-initiated by our officers. We provided assistance to the public in 133 instances. We assisted other agencies 21 times. We made 39 criminal arrests and 58 traffic arrests. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Great job. Great job for both Officer Clark and the department, so.
I have a question, Chief. Are there any finder's fees for Greenhills?
Well, one of this might be that some of this stolen merchandise has of yet gone unclaimed, so there's some technology needs, there might be other needs, and through the use of a court order, we can use that, and that'll save another little bit of capital money.
I figure that was somewhat in the makings.
We're always on the lookout for that.
All right.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, the mayor's report. Mayor Moore did leave me the court receipts for the month of August. The county received $39. The state received $1,245. And the village received $6,203.70 for a grand total of $7,487.70 for the month of August. Thank you. And now we will go to the committee reports. Since it is Councilmember Metz's first time, we'll let her go first.
Perfect, thank you. So I met with Yvonne and Mike from services, so I've got a list of things to keep my eye out on, and we're working on priorities and such. And we did set a meeting for our first committee meeting is going to be October 17th at 9 a.m., just to give us some time to pull things together and meet up.
Sounds good. Any questions for streets and services? Services and streets, sorry, reverse that. Great.
All right.
Intergovernmental affairs, laws, and rules.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. That sounded
very long.
Very long. Okay. Actually, there's nothing to report. Our meeting for Monday was canceled, and we've dispensed with the rescheduled meeting for tomorrow morning. We will meet again on October 22nd, Monday at 9 a.m.
Any questions for intergovernmental affairs, laws, and rules? Finance and audit.
Thank you. I'll give you numbers through the month of August. On the income tax, which is our largest source of revenue, we are up 3.08% year over year. Real estate tax is up 19%, but that number's
there's a timing issue there. We're not actually up that much. It'll be low single digits by the time we get to December 31st. Overall, the general fund is up a little more than 7%, and that number will creep down when we get the real estate aberration worked through the system. From on the expense side, we appropriated about $2.5 million from the general fund this year, and we have expended about 66%, so we are tracking quite nicely. And kind of the theme is we planned our work. Now we're working our plan and we're on target. So we don't have a finance committee meeting scheduled yet. We will in the near future. And that is the sum and substance of my report.
Glenn, you forgot to say congratulations to everyone for getting raises that you normally throw in there when you talk about
I do like to
income
talk
taxes.
about that. That is a good thing. So congratulations if you got a raise. Good for you. Good for the village.
Any questions for finance and audit? Community development?
Yes, working with Yvonne on the new signage. I know that's come up several times, but there's a lot of things to put in place. Yvonne's done an excellent job aligning or setting on the calendar the stump removal that'll have to happen. We've got permission by the Baptist Church to put one of the signs up. I am having some printouts made to do some mock-ups so we can temporarily get a read on scale and size that we could just put up and take some photographs and make sure that it's legible and what the proper height would be. We also are looking at enhancing the signage code. Right now we mentioned channel letters. This is more on our end a recommendation of maybe saying three-dimensional letters and not limiting it to an actual channel letter. So it'll just, it still would look nice, but it gives a little bit more breathing room to the businesses to still have additional taglines and things to their signage that would look good and be legible and not look temporary. But other than that, that concludes my report.
Next meeting?
It actually was scheduled for this week, but since I was out of town, I will not be able to keep that, so stay tuned. I will let you know when the next meeting is.
That sounds a lot like my next for the safety committee. Any questions for community development? Okay, next committee is safety committee. We were supposed to meet next month, but we need to reschedule due to calendar conflicts. So I will get with the chief to see what dates are good for him, especially since we want to bring up about the signs. I don't know, I think it should start with us to see kind of your feel on Watch for Children signs and how that works in communities, and just kind of go from there and any other topics that might come in front of us. Any questions for the safety committee? Anything else that you would like us to discuss? Okay, recreation and cable television.
Well, we have a long list of information here. I want to go back a minute for the membership there at the pool, and I want to make sure that as many as I can remember, people that had volunteered and helped in were thanked properly. We had Councilman Mr. Lee here, who did a fantastic job helping us out with the hot dogs for that. And Councilman Jeff, you brought incredible melon to help us out with that and help, so I really appreciated that. And then
A chilled melon.
and then the many members of the community that show up with side dishes, it was incredible. We had tables and tables of side dishes and cookies and candies and everything else. I'd also would like to thank the family, starting with Doug Kohler and the family help that he had of the brother-in-laws and sisters-in-laws and so forth. And Dan Dorflin, which is a member of the Recreation Commission, but he plowed in totally, directing that whole event of the luau. And he, without probably doesn't know it yet, but he would be tremendous help on the Harvest Fest. For those people that would have some time to help us out for the Harvest Fest, the days that we have the most need of will be on Thursdays and Friday. Friday is crucial. What doesn't get done on Friday, it will not get done. It's pretty much that important. I went to the meeting for the cable and Waycross Cable Television, and that was when we said goodbye to Jason Gerserick. We have someone else taking place of, a very capable young lady, and we shall meet her in the future. The Harvest Fest will run on the 6th of October from 11 o'clock in the morning till the 9 o'clock. We have tremendous things in store here for you. We have 2 fantastic bands. We have about 35 booths. We have the brats, Mets, hot dogs, everything that the American Legion is going to be serving in. We're going to have a beer truck. We're going to have walking tacos. I really don't know for sure what they are, but they're provided too. Also, we have a tremendous man that prepares this incredible corn. So it was by popular demand, he was asked to come back, and he accepted very graciously. We also have a gentleman from the community that is going to do a presentation of rock climbing. I'm sorry?
American Ninja Warrior.
The Ninja Warrior, correct? So he will be presenting a tremendous program for the kids. I always want to say just wall climbing or something. All kinds of things, okay.
I'm sure that's part of it.
And we're going to have the fires out there. We're going to have the firemen. We're going to have the police. I think it's going to be a grand time. And I really, really beg of all of you to give us a shot for that particular Saturday. I don't know if there are games somewhere, but we are going to be more fun than those games. So please do come. Thank you.
Any questions for recreation and cable TV?
I just have a comment. A walking taco is a chip bag that you put taco meat in and you can walk with it.
Oh, that will be my first one.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay. And again, I want to say thank you to Jason Kreskoric for the many years of service he did for Ray Cross and for us.
Yes.
So he will be missed. You wanted to mention the homecoming parade, that's Friday night.
It's Friday night of that same weekend. I don't know
October
it.
5th.
Yeah.
Along with the homecoming game on Friday, October 5th for the Wynwoods.
Yeah. But we were invited as a council to participate in that, and I don't know if anyone has any interest. I cannot participate that evening, but...
To what extent?
To ride in the car and...
Practice your wave.
Gently throw candy at young children.
And dog treats.
And
At
dog
dogs.
treats. At dogs.
Don't get that mixed up.
No.
Yeah, got it.
Those dog treats, some of them are good.
Okay.
They're better than...
Moving on.
Someone needs to, do you want me to respond? If anyone has any interest, let me know. I'll respond on behalf of council.
I know I was planning on going to the game. If anyone else is going to be in the parade, let me know, and I would consider it.
Okay.
But my family is going to the game.
Okay.
I will not be able to because I will be otherwise engaged in the Harvest Fest preparations.
Got it.
Okay, new business. Mr. Dries.
Thank you. I turn the pages quickly to get there. I have a resolution, Resolution 2018-29F, accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. Whereas the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, in accordance with the provisions of law, have previously adopted a tax budget for the next succeeding fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2019, and whereas the Budget Commission of Hamilton County, Ohio has certified its action thereon to this council together with an estimate of the county auditor of the rate of each tax necessary to be levied by this council and what part thereof is without and what part within the 10 mil tax limitations. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission in its certification be and the same are hereby accepted. Section 2, that there be and is hereby levied on the tax duplicate of said village the rate of each tax necessary to be levied within and without the 10 mil limitation as contained as Exhibit A attached hereto and made a part of this resolution. Section 3, this resolution shall be in full force and take effect from and after its passage. I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, may I have a roll call?
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walter?
Aye.
Resolution number 2018-29F, accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor has been passed. Ms. Metz.
I also have a resolution. Resolution number 2018-30, resolution authorizing assessments on certain properties in the Village of Greenhills. Whereas the village has given proper notice to the owners of certain real property in the Village of Greenhills regarding the removal of vegetation, refuse, garbage, and/or debris from the properties listed below, and whereas the owners of said properties did not take action to remedy the violations, and therefore the Village of Greenhills contracted to remove vegetation, refuse, garbage, and/or debris, and now seeks to collect said expenses by authorizing the placement of a lien upon the lands and collected as other taxes. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the Village Council hereby certifies that the costs of such labor, together with the expenses relative thereto, be filed on the return and statement to the Hamilton County Commissioners as an assessment against the properties listed and placed as a lien against the properties by the Auditor of Hamilton County, Ohio, as follows. Parcel number 597-0070-0024-00, address 100 Burley Circle, owner Pearson, Jerry at 3, cost $253.04. Parcel number 597-0080-0106-00, address 6 Beckford Drive, owner JTSS Investments LLC, at the cost of $109.87. Parcel number 597-0030-0007-00, address 6 Flanders Lane, owner Spa, Timothy L., at the cost of $160.34. Parcel number 597-0060-0170-00, address 1 Deer Hill Lane, owner Zartman, James C., at the cost of $135.62. Parcel number 597-0080-0038-00, address 11 Bachman Street, owner Ward, David Jeffrey, at the cost of $382.82. Parcel number 597-0080-0092-00, address 6 Bradnor Plaza, Place. Owner Spa, Timothy and Sherry L., cost $212.87. And finally, parcel number 597-0030-0201-00, address 14 Falcon Lane, owner Spa, Timothy and Sherry L., the cost of $109.87 for a total of $1,364.43. Section 2, all amounts collected as a result of this resolution shall be placed into the general fund of the Village of Greenhills. Section 3, this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its passage. I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion?
I think this goes to the heart of the matter where residents have expressed concern with things not being addressed from a code standpoint. That's a lot of code violations right there.
So in this situation, the owners do get notice that they're in violation. They have an opportunity to rectify the violation, and in this case, they didn't, so the village had to pay to get it done. And then the village then invoiced them to pay for this, and they did not pay the invoice. And after that is when we put it on the tax bill. So there have been multiple conversations or contacts with the property owners at this point, and this is the final step for us to collect our money. Can I have a roll call? There's no further discussion.
Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
And Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution number 2018-30 S&S, resolution authorizing assessments on certain properties in the village of Greenhills. Back to Mr. Dries.
Thank you. Resolution 2018-31F, a resolution making supplemental appropriations and transfers, whereas the 2018 annual appropriations that were adopted on December 12th, 2017 are to be amended, and whereas appropriations must not exceed total available resources of the village per Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.3685. Therefore, an amended certificate of estimated resources has been requested from the County Budget Commission. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, certain actions are needed in the monies appropriated so to permit the Village of Greenhills to meet its fiscal obligations for the year 2018. The following items of expenditure are to supplement the appropriations for expenditure for the year 2018. Section 2, that the following transfers of funds be made from previously appropriated monies from the general fund to the golf course fund, $7,000. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. I move for the adoption of Resolution 2018-31F.
Second.
The budgeted amount for the golf course was $28,000. We've already transferred 15 in. An additional $7,000 will pay the bills as we estimate them to be for the rest of the year, so we will beat budget by $6,000.
Good news.
And I believe that the pool is also beating budget.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, warm days in between all this flippin' rain.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Dries?
Aye.
Mr. Halter?
Aye.
Ms. Hermes?
Aye.
Mr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Metz?
Aye.
And Ms. Walther?
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2018-31F, resolution making supplemental appropriations and transfers has passed. Now it is time for calendar. We'll go around the room. I will start down with Mr. Halter.
We're just canceling, but you and I will need to talk about next community development date, and we'll have to get that posted. So this Wednesday is not happening.
Okay.
We need to schedule a finance meeting. I wanted Deb to get a couple of months under her belt before we did that.
month.
Well, she closed 2 months, so, and I checked and all the employees have gotten paid, so she must know what she's doing. And then I've got to call into Mike to start planning Light Up Greenhills, so we'll be doing that soon.
We have a carriage ride already.
We do?
We do, yes.
Awesome.
It's going to be a wagon this year.
Awesome.
We can hold more people.
Oh, okay.
Fantastic.
So excited, I love it.
Mr. Lee?
Intergovernmental Affairs, Laws and Rules, October 22nd, Monday at 9 a.m.
Ms. Walther?
Harvest Fest, October 6th, Saturday, starting at 11 and ending at 9. Great times for all and a little doggy parade. Please come.
Ms. Metz?
Services and Streets meeting, October 17th, 9 a.m.
Okay, and just a reminder, our next work session is October 9th. And since we are coming into October, a reminder that Trick or Treat or Halloween will be held Wednesday, October 31st from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. It's the same time every year, but it's nice to let people know already, just so you can start planning it.
I believe they have Halloween on the calendar that way, don't they?
Yes. So thank you. Meeting adjourned.